a new Avowed presentation came out, and it looks super promising. But is it everything that you want it to be? Hey girls, guys, and all people like it, is Mox here, and hello, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about Avowed. So a new Avowed presentation just came out, and it was awesome. I really loved it, and we're going to be talking about it and reviewing it a little bit. But before we jump into things, if you're interested in seeing more videos like this, hit like, hit subscribe, because I have more stuff like this coming soon. Okay, so jumping right in, they start off by bringing up how they like to make games with deep themes and gameplay, and I'm really looking forward to that, especially after seeing everything in this presentation. They also mentioned this mysterious spiritual plague and a secret heart of the lands, which I assume ties into what we've seen previously with the mutated animals and creatures. And that's super interesting for me as someone who likes to get really invested into the story of games. But anyway, they move on to the combat, which ties into the title of the video. It sounds like exactly what I want it to be. I'm trying not to compare so many things to Skyrim recently. Spoilers, it is not going too well. But I was going over some of the major reasons why I love Skyrim so much, and a huge part of it is the freedom to do things and play how I want to. I've been searching for new games that let me do that, and not many have come close. I want to be able to quickly switch weapons and tools, even if that isn't what I specialize in, just because it might be better suited for the situation that I'm in. You have no idea how many times I, a typical spell sword character, with no points in archery, will whip out a bow just because I want to kill an enemy that's far away, maybe because it's way stronger than I can handle, or for whatever reason. That's not really the point. What matters is that I can switch on a whim, and we seem to be getting that with Avowed. Something that caught my eye though was the use of wands, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of a sucker for wands. I love staves as well, and barehanded magic is my favorite, but the option to use a wand seems fun and for some reason unique, because even though wands are kind of a no-brainer when it comes to magic, I just don't see them all that often in games. So I'm excited to see how they play, especially because they seem to be more fast-paced than your typical barehanded magic or your typical staff magic. But getting back to combat as a whole, I don't want to be forced to use all these weapons and things, and that's another thing that I value within that freedom to play how I want. I also want the freedom to restrict myself too. If I want to be a bulky knight with a two-handed axe or something, I want to be able to play through the whole game with just that loadout. It would feel very immersion breaking if I absolutely need to kill an enemy with like a little wand when I'm trying to play another class. But I'm assuming that's what we're going to be getting, the freedom to do whatever we want, even restrict ourselves however we want. I say that because it just seems like the direction that they're taking, and I don't know if you caught it, but at one point they say, if you choose to approach combat with a wand, it does this, which makes me think you can approach combat however you want. They also literally say,
we want to give you the freedom to mix and match your loadout to fit the way you want to play from moment to moment, uninterrupted.
You can quickly switch your loadout and play however you want. And I'm still on the fence about pistols because, well, I'm just not a huge fan of guns in medieval fantasy, but then again, I can just simply not use them. They then go on to talk about the choices you can make in-game, while briefly mentioning different regions you can explore in the Living Lands, which is a really cool name for the world, by the way. I'm not sure if I mentioned that previously. Then they give an example of these choices in a side quest you can encounter, where you find some dead soldiers and need to choose who's at fault. I love when your choices actually matter in games like this. It feels very immersive, and it really makes you feel like you're leaving an impact on the world around you. I understand that's not for everyone. I even got a comment about someone saying they don't want choices in their games, but in that case, this probably is not the game for you. There's a lot of other games where it's just all story and you just follow a linear tale, and that's fine. I love games like that too. A pretty popular example nowadays is God of War. I love God of War so much. Definitely one of my favorite games ever, and that game has like no choices in it at all, but I love it still. But for a game like this, I love having choices that impact the world around me. And after going over all that, they talk about the art and designs found in Avowed. It seems very unique with its use of vibrant colors. That's a pretty big thing that they mention, and I love vibrant colors, but sometimes it can be a little off-putting, making scenes feel a little cartoony. And I noticed this in the first trailer I covered in this video, but I'm not sure if I mentioned it or not. And compared to the original teaser trailer, Avowed seems like an entirely different game. I think if it's done well, it can be really interesting and cool, but if overdone, again, it'll seem cartoony. I just don't think I've seen enough to be able to tell which one it'll be yet. What I do know though is that I'm a huge fan of worlds that feel alive and lived in. Games like Dark Souls and Elden Ring, for example, just didn't really hook me in because everything seems so dead and so grim. And also because I'm terrible at those games. I died to like a normal wolf. What is this? But sometimes I just want to see a nice little village of people living their lives. Also, yes, I understand those games aren't meant to look and feel like a medieval fantasy. I'm just explaining why they aren't my favorite aesthetic for games. Avowed, though, seems to have a bunch of different biomes and environments that I am so hyped to explore. I just hope there's more than these kobold-looking things dotted across the lands. And I'm certain there will be. I just feel like we've seen kind of a lot of them at this point. But I'm hoping that's just so that they can save as much as they can for the game to actually release, or for later later trailers. Overall though, the visuals look really good, amazing even, but it does fall under that soft category for me. It's an interesting spot between cartoony and realistic. It's more so on the realistic side, but not by too much. And I can't tell if it's just me being spoiled with these new ultra realistic game graphics, but a lot of games I've been seeing lately feel very soft around the edges. It's a little hard to explain, but if I compare it to an Unreal Engine 5 scene, it's a very unfair comparison, first of all, because the game isn't necessarily trying to be ultra realistic, but hopefully this just kind of shows where I'm coming from. Avowed seems like it has its art style. It has a set art style, and it's a little softer than a scene like this, which is ultra realistic, and in an ultra realistic setting, things are a little more jagged, a little more sharp looking. But that doesn't mean Avowed looks bad, it just has a set art style that if you're not used to, well, you're just gonna have to get used to it. And that includes me. I was just a little put off at first, but I'm still really, really hyped for it. I think it looks great. But that's just about where things end off in this presentation. Every time I see new Avowed things, I get so much more hyped. It just looks better and better every time I see updates on it. But with all that hype comes a lot of worry as well. So many promising titles have been released and end up flopping lately, and I'm just hoping that doesn't happen to Avowed. So while I am wishing for the best, and I think Obsidian will do an amazing job, I'm also curious to see how many things will be fixed or just straight up added with potential mods. No idea if this game's gonna have mod support, but I think I mentioned this previously. If this wants to reach the level of replayability and the iconicness, I guess, of Skyrim, modding is a good way to do that. Not necessary, but a good way to do it. But what do you guys think? Are you excited for Avowed? Did you like the new presentation they showed off? I personally did, but let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. And yeah, that's gonna be just about it. I'm so hyped for this game, and you better believe I'm gonna be making videos about it when it comes out. Also, for those of you who have joined the channel for my FNAF content, I still love making FNAF videos, and I have some coming up that I'm really excited about, but I do want to branch off. I've mentioned this previously, I just wanted to mention it again. I do want to branch off a little bit and explore other genres and things for the channel. This could kind of be its own video, this little section right here, but I feel like FNAF kind of has its pinnacle of how much you can get out of it nowadays, unless you're a really, really big YouTuber. And as a smaller YouTuber, I kind of want to branch out and explore, like I said, new genres. And editing me may or may not cut all of this out, depending on how well this fits into the video. Anyway, that's gonna be just about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this. Stay tuned for more, and I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.